hi everybody, this is Kevin, and welcome to my review of the 2021 Mortal Kombat movie that was released just recently on HBO Max in theaters from Warner Brothers. And this is going to be a spoiler review. We're going to talk about everything, and let's just get started. So first and foremost, I'm just going to say right off the bat, I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, I've seen online, there's a lot of people criticizing it. You have, of course, the critics who, you knew they weren't going to like it just because, I don't know, they don't understand video game movies or anything like that. And honestly, this is no masterpiece. It's dumb fun, which, you know, people got to get over themselves. There's a lot of people like, but it's not like the game, or it's the original is the best, and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, I mean, be thankful that, thankfully there's essentially no identity politics in it whatsoever. The characters, for the most part, are very similar to the source material. They have this new character who's essentially the main character of the film called Cole Young. They introduced him in the movie, which I didn't really like, and a lot of people sort of criticized that. And I agree with that. I mean, Liu Kang should have he should have been the main character, in my opinion anyway, or I guess you could make it a case for Scorpion. But, you know, it was enjoyable for what it was. And, I mean, the original 95 version is such a nostalgic, campy movie that, you know, it's just a nostalgic trip. Same thing with Annihilation. Like, everyone shits on Annihilation for good reason, I guess. But in the same sense, it's an enjoyable movie for me, and it's very nostalgic. And I understand they actually just did a animated one, like, called Scorpion's Revenge. I think it came out last year. And that I never saw that one. I'll have to check that one out. And actually, just watching this, I watched it at home. Just watching it makes me want to play. I haven't played Mortal Kombat video game since Mortal Kombat versus the DC Universe on the PS3 like 10 years ago, and they're on Mortal Kombat 11. And I was looking online, you can get the basic game for like $20, and I think the Ultimate Edition with all the new characters. They got like Rambo, Terminator, Spawn, all these characters in it, and that one's like $50. So I might have to check that out. But overall, I mean, let's just take a look on the Wikipedia page. Let me get rid of my face, and here we go. So, overall, I found this pretty interesting. Looking over here, directed by Simon McQuaid. I'm not sure who he is, but over here, it got James Wan produced it, so that was interesting to me. And a lot of these actors I never heard of. Like, pretty much none of them I've heard of. And this guy, I looked him up, Hiroyuki Sanada. And he was the guy who played Scorpion, and he's done all these like Japanese samurai films from back in the day, and he's actually going to be in Army of the Dead. And I found this interesting too. He was in Avengers Endgame. He was the guy that Hawkeye fought in Japan, fighting the Yakuza or whatever. And that was a great scene, and that only lasted like a minute in that movie. But you know, he had some great scenes fighting Sub-Zero, and it starts off with you know, this is back in like the year 1600 or whatever. And he's there, and Sub-Zero hunts him down and tries to kill him. But his daughter survives, and the name is passed down for generations. And it's passed down to this guy named Cole Young, who, like I said, is a new character in the series that they just introduced. But you see here with the cast, it's got all the classics. It's got Sonya Blade, it's got Jax, and Kano is in it. And he's really funny in the movie, for sure. And honestly, my favorite character in the whole movie was Kung Lao, seeing him. But, you know, it had the classic bad guys. It had Cabal. It had Goro. And it was funny, too, because Cabal and Kano sort of had, like, a history when they met. And he's like, hey, yo, come on, open the gate for me. Because Lord Raiden sort of blocked them all off when they were training them. Essentially, all the heroes, Sonya Blade, Jax, Cole Young, and at one point, Kano was with them, had to unlock their powers, and, you know, they were training. And Goro, the CGI for Goro actually looks pretty good, not gonna lie. And interestingly enough, it was a relatively cheap movie. I mean, it didn't really make a whole lot of money because, you know, theaters aren't open. Well, some are. But the budget was $55 million, which wasn't bad at all because the effects with Sub-Zero were very good. I enjoyed that. But the one thing I am kind of pissed off about is there really wasn't a big tournament. You know, essentially they were all unlocking their powers, and they didn't really know how to fight quite yet. Like, for instance, Sub-Zero finds Jax. You know, Jax is protecting Cole Young, and Jax is defending him. and Sub-Zero freezes his arms and rips them off, and that's, then they give Jax the robotic arms, and he's like really weak at first. Then there's like a rock on Sonya Blade, and to unlock its potential, he lifts up the rock and saves her. And I gotta say, they had a lot of great fan service. Like they had when Cabal died, fatality, and at the end there they had a fight between Sub-Zero and Scorpion with Cole Young, of course. And Scorpion kept getting these flashbacks of him in hell, and when he finally arrived, he's like, I have waited centuries from the netherworld to return from the depths of hell. And it was just such a badass line. And especially, too, when Sub-Zero, like, in the beginning, you saw him just as a regular warrior, and then he had the mask on, and he says, I am Sub-Zero. And it was just, it's just great fan service. And, they're fighting Scorpion, the actor, he's Japanese, and they're having the fight, and he's speaking Japanese the whole time. And then he gets, throws the knife at him, pulls him in. Get over here. It was, dude, I was like marking out over here. It was great. So it was definitely a lot of fun. There was a cameo at the end with Johnny Cage, and that was great. And actually, once again, I'm going to show you over here. This is absolutely terrific, especially if you're a wrestling fan. So The Miz from WWE posted this. They had at the end, what's the guy's name? Cole Young is recruiting. He's got to go and recruit more fighters for the tournament in what's presumably going to be the next movie. And The Miz, he says, no, Johnny Cage, I am the special effects. Let me do the casting for you. I mean, holy shit. And if you know his character from WWE, that's essentially what he is. He's like he thinks he's like the A-list celebrity because he was in the Marine 4 and all these direct-to-DVD movies with whatever, the WWE stars, and he has a reality show with his wife. And actually, Ed Boon, the creator, the creator of Mortal Kombat, he posted, the guy makes a compelling case. Absolutely right, man. How awesome would that be? So another thing too, like Sonya Blade, I don't even know who this actress is, Jessica McNamee, but dude, I googled her. Check her out, man. Goddamn, Sonya Blade, she was pretty hot in the movie, not gonna lie at all. But yeah, one other criticism I have is Kung Lao. He has a battle at the end there, and he's fighting against the big bad guy, Shang Tsung, and he's sucking his soul, Kung Lao's soul, and he kills him. So that kind of pissed me off because him and Liu Kang are like essentially the main characters in my view if we're going off the original game, and essentially that's what they did. They just took all the characters from the original game, which is cool. And they're going to bring Johnny Cage in. Because that's essentially, all these modern movies, that's what they do now. And that's another criticism I will point out. A lot of these movies, they just got to make a cinematic universe out of everything. Which works in some cases, but in other cases it doesn't. And with this, I mean, like I said, the budget was relatively cheap, $55 million. It's made $50 million so far. So it's it'll probably make a nice profit. I'd imagine it will sell pretty well on Blu-ray and DVD if people watch it again. And yeah, I'm really contemplating buying Mortal Kombat 11, the one that just came out like 2 years ago, and then they did the remaster now, and they have all those new characters. I'm really contemplating buying the game, because like I said, I haven't played a new Mortal Kombat game since the DC one that came out in 2009 on the PS3. But, let me play this for you guys. Oh, is it working?
Flawless victory.
Gotta love that. So honestly, I enjoyed the movie very much. I really did enjoy it for what it was worth. My criticism, like I said, Cole Young, I thought it was kind of unnecessary to have a character like that, but I can kind of see where they're coming from, to sort of bring these characters together because, like I said, our heroes specifically, aside from Liu Kang and Kung Lao, they didn't know their powers, they didn't know how to work them. And a great scene, Kano, his actor was great. The actor who played Scorpion, he was awesome. Have his scenes, and like when he was speaking Japanese, I have risen from hell to kill you. It was a fucking awesome, man. Get over here, and just all the like the quotes from the game. Just if you're a fan of the game, and that's the thing too. If you're a fan of the games, you're gonna love this movie. But like if you're gonna show this to a normie, or say you're watching it with like your dad or something, or your brother or whatever, and they're not a big Mortal Kombat fan, they're gonna be like, what does that even mean? So if you're not like a fan or know the references, it's gonna go over your head and it's gonna be like, oh, this is stupid. But if you are a fan, you'll really like it. And I enjoyed it for sure. I loved it, actually. I just think a lot of people criticizing it are like, what are you really expecting? I mean, because a lot of people criticizing it too are praising the original, which I like the original too, just because of the campiness. And I do like Annihilation because of the campiness of that movie too. But, I mean, I don't know what people were expecting with this. For what it was worth, it was freaking awesome. But to a person that doesn't know the lore, you're not going to like it. So that's my review, and I give it a flawless victory.
Flawless victory.